Turn the bed upside down, flip me around, gravity's left the building. I'll be on top, really, I'll be on the bottom, cause we gonna be having sex on the ceiling. I did that intro because today's topic is a very explicit topic, no kids allowed. Be safe, wrap it up. Hey, what's going on, YouTube? To race play sexually or not? That is the question. And I know that it's a very touchy question, a very touchy subject, but we are fit to make like Busta Rhymes and touch it, bring it, pay it, watch it, turn it, leave it, automatic. I don't know. Anyway, I think that face is fun. Anyway, so I was listening to the latest installment of The Read, or at least what I have as the latest installment of The Read. And I love that podcast. I listen to it like every week. And the majority of the time, I completely agree with them 1,000%. I'm like, couldn't have said it better myself. But sometimes when it comes to their advice column that they give, I agree much less of the time. And let's delve right into it. So, as I was listening today, one of the writers wrote in to the show, and it was a white guy in an interracial homosexual relationship. Interesting, right? And his black partner wanted the white guy to pretend to be the slave master in their sexual escapades, and he would pretend to be the slave. And of course, those of you who are familiar with my vidster, and even Kid Fury was like, I'm familiar with my vidster. Those of you who are familiar with my vidster, we all know that that's a thing. Like, people are into that. But as it relates to their advice, they, as I expected it when I heard them say it, for a second I was like, oh, maybe they're not. But when they actually gave the advice, it was, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. That's just so, who in the world would want something like that? And how dare you? And I understand wanting other things sexually, but wanting that sexually is just, that's where I draw the line. That's where you draw the line. That's where I draw the line. And that's just too much. And how dare somebody want something like that? And the white man who wrote in, they were like, so what you need to do, sex dude, is you need to tell him no. Tell your black boyfriend that you will not sexually pretend to be his slave master. Because don't nobody got time for that. Okay, does you all right? So, my thing about that, I'm also, in addition to listening to the Read podcast, I'm also very much a fan of Dan Savage and the Savage Love podcast. And what he explained, which is a really good point, and I tweeted them about, I'm almost sure they're not going to read it at all, but I tweeted them this. Dan Savage explained that a lot of times people will sexualize something that they fear. Something that they fear, something that they will sexualize. And in a lot of cases, racism, well, not in a lot of cases, in all cases, racism can be a very scary thing, honestly. As it relates to people sexualizing what they fear, it gives people a chance to be in control of this thing that they fear in a controlled sexual setting. And I don't think that we should look down upon it. Oh, goodness gracious. YouTube is a place where people are supposed to be honest about their feelings, right? I'll say this much about it, and that's it. I have watched a video or two that involves race play. I'm not gonna lie, okay? I'm keeping it honest, you guys. Oh my gosh. Cut, edit, cut it. I'm sorry. Anyway, but I have, and it is what it is. But all of that to say, people sexualize things that they fear. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm speaking honest for myself in this case. When he said that, it made so much sense, because I'm like, I think part of the reason that I would even begin to sexualize something like that is because of the fact that racism makes me very uncomfortable, and I I fear it. I don't like the fact that there are people in this world who will look down upon me just because of the color of my skin and know nothing else about me except the color of my skin. And they will look down upon me simply because of that. That bothers me. So, to hear Dan Savage say that sometimes people sexualize things that bother them, I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. That it's just like the porn videos where the beautiful, long, blonde-haired white woman is at home waiting for her husband to come home, and then she hears a knock on the door, and it's a big, burly black man with a 15-inch penis ready to take him some white woman. And the reason that's a whole market in the porn industry is because that's something that people fear. People don't like thinking about, while my wife's at home while I'm at work, and then in comes this man to take advantage of her sexually, and she enjoys it. People don't like that. People fear that. That makes them uncomfortable. And they sexualize it. That's why I think it's called cuckolding, and I might be totally mispronouncing it, but like cuckolding is like a whole thing where a man will let his wife have sex with another man in front of him because it humiliates him. People sexualize things that they fear. It just is what it is. I believe, and I think that's the thing. Sexually, it's a controlled environment. It's somebody who you trust enough to have sex with. But I don't look down upon people who want something like that for their sexual adventures. It's sex. It's a controlled environment. It is two consenting adults, or three, or four, or anyway. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just keeping it 100. But it's consenting adults. That's the point. And I think people are entitled to like what they want to like. And again, people sexualize things that make them uncomfortable, things that they kind of fear or whatever. So, because what the Reed did is they were like, you need to tell your boyfriend, one, if he asks you again, tell him that you're going to leave and you're going to step, which is like, pump the brakes. It's not that serious at all. And two, you need to tell him that he needs help. Because somebody who needs something like that is somebody who needs some help. They need some help, for real, mental help, because they crazy. No. Maybe it does represent a bigger picture, and as I've said, time and time again, I see a counselor, so I don't see anything wrong with that. But I don't think that in and of itself is a problem, and I don't necessarily think that it represents a problem. I think it's something that people just, I don't know. I love that face. I mean, I think it's just something that people enjoy, and it is what it is. Again, it's between or among, no shade, between or among consenting adults. It's all good. Again, people sexualize what they fear. It is what it is. I think that's all I have to say on the subject. Talk to y'all later, YouTube. Comment, rate, subscribe. Peace. Be blessed.